The war on EVs continues. California's strict requirements are under fire. What was once thought would be a smooth, seamless transition into a cleaner, greener economy, well, that is all up in the air by some very interesting folks with some very strong agendas and some very powerful backing. Yeah, it looks like the California Air Resource Board is not able to do as much as we had thought, as much as they have legally been permitted to do before, and the justification is simply bizarre. It's absolutely maddening and mind-boggling, but I'll share the details with you today. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So here we go. Let's just get into it. What are we looking at? U.S. agency says Congress cannot repeal California's 2035 zero-emission vehicle mandate. And that's what it is. Under the Clean Air Act, the EPA has historically granted California waivers to set stricter air pollution regulations on vehicles, power plants, and industry within its borders. That deal was reached decades ago so that California wouldn't be dragged down by the more lax federal regulations. Well, they're trying to do that now. U.S. agencies are saying that California does have a right to set its own rules. That is locked in. The Government Accountability Office said on Thursday that the Biden administration's approval of California's landmark plan to end the sale of gasoline-only vehicles by 2035 is not subject to review. The EPA had submitted it saying, sent it to the Government Accountability Office saying, hey, shouldn't we review this? And the Government Accountability Office said, no, it is not a recommendation or a request. It is an order. So importantly, 11 other states have adopted California's rules. So this goes well beyond the already gigantic California. Beyond the 100% zero emission mandate, California's regulations mandate that 35% of new vehicles be electric by 2026, 68% by 2030. This is a short article, but a good one. So good job to Zachary Shahan. I've read a number of his stories on here before. He does good work. So what are we looking at here? Well, the GAO, this is a longer version I've got right here. The GAO blocks potential congressional repeal of California EVs. So this gives a little better clarity on the language. GAO announced that they were sent a waiver request last month, and that the review is not reviewable by them. It's not within our purview, and that the previous administration of California's mandate to ban the sale of all gas-powered vehicles stands. Why would anyone be upset about it? Well, I want the freedom to choose. Yeah, but sometimes people make bad choices. If we had the freedom to choose, we would choose. There are people who would still be burning leaded gasoline and lining their homes with asbestos. Asbestos, very good fire retardant, but not super healthy, not the greatest thing to be around if you are an organism with lungs. Lungs and asbestos, not a good mix. So in the past several months, California planned to make all passenger cars zero emission have been up in the air. Biden had approved it, and now Congress, they want to upset it. They want to take it. It does not surprise me that their current stance, because it's a stance that's well established, not just by Trump, but by previous Republican administrations that have been trying to vandalize California's waiver and pollution standards for decades. This is nothing new. We have seen this year in, year out. Hey, do we support state rights or not? Well, there's people in those states. Yeah. Do we support state rights or not? That's where we're at. Now, why would you care? Why would it matter if California's doing their own thing, if they're going their own way? Well, because a lot of car manufacturers say, golly gosh, California is a very large percentage of the vehicles sold in the U.S. It is a big market. Do we really want to make two different versions of the car, one just for California and one for the rest of the country? Well, sometimes they do. There are sometimes models that are only available in California. But for the most part, what they do is make all the models they sell everywhere compliant to the California rules. Everybody wins. The manufacturer decides that is the cheapest path forward. We're just going to do that. That's great. You don't have to live in California to benefit from a lot of the Clean Air Acts that they make happen. So that's great. So that's ridiculous. Okay. Also likely to carry weight, nationwide polls have shown that 75% of Americans are against any kind of gas-powered vehicle ban. Right. People were against indoor smoking bans. People were against bans on smoking on airplanes and in movie theaters. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you think, but ban is maybe the wrong word. Maybe it's too strong of a word. Carrots and sticks, my friends, we need all that. But the real question to me is, who is paying for this nonsense? Because there are some pretty crazy things going on. We have got a lot of money from the fossil fuel industry, and we've got the hesitance of a lot of politicians to push back on anything that's from their team, whatever team that may be. So if something was passed by Biden, Republicans want it gone, even if it's good. If something was passed by Obama, they want it gone, even if it was good. Even if it's something that interests their constituents directly, they want it gone. That's unfortunate. Now, why would the EPA do this? Is the EPA a radical organization, or are they a reasonable, balanced, normal kind of government agency that just has their rules and enacts them? Well, this is kind of a fun one. We got to see this little gem. The Washington Post has devolved into the radical left's own Pravda. It should come as no surprise, because this was talking about a Washington Post article about the electric cars. It should come as no surprise that they jump to toe the line and are quick to defend apparent cronyism instead of actually doing the work to investigate on behalf of the American public. It's no wonder their failing newspaper is hemorrhaging readers. The Trump administration, however, is committed to accountability and transparency for the American people. Now, you want to know the crazy part is, you know who published this? That's the EPA. This is who the EPA is now. For years we've been hearing, oh, they're going to weaponize the government. And I didn't believe them, but here we are. This is absolutely weaponized government agencies. What this reads, you'd get a C- if you submitted that in a class and I was grading. That is not that is bad. That is so bad. That is embarrassing. That is cringe nonsense. The radical left's own Pravda. What are you talking about? My gosh. So the EPA is no longer acting in the interest of the people. It is acting in the interest of whoever would talk like that. And that is not how people talk. I've met people. I've met so many people. People don't talk like that. We can have disagreements without attacking each other. And by the way, if you are in the comments on these mildly political posts, spouting your insanity from any end of the spectrum, your comment may not see the light of day, because I don't tolerate insanity. If you want to say that everybody in this EPA office is literally the devil. I mean, the devil is kind of a joke, but if you want to say that they're all Stalin himself incarnated, that post may not show up, because that's not what we do here. We try and stick to the facts. We try and stick to the reality of it. But you want to know who doesn't stick to reality? We've got this joker. Ending Biden's EV mandate requires ending California's waiver. He wants to end the mandate. And based on the look of him, forget mandate, he couldn't get a date with an old gym sock. Can he? President Trump has repeatedly promised to end what he terms the Biden electric vehicle mandate. Well, is it just Trump calling that, or are you calling it that too, Kenny? In day one executive order, Trump directed that the mandate should end. The action was only the beginning, not the end, of rolling it back. In order to end this mandate, 3 major regulatory provisions had to be revised or rejected. Tailpipe emission standards from the EPA, corporate average fuel economy standards from the Department of Transportation, and the state of California's Clean Cars 2 regulation granted a waiver from the Clean Air Act. We got to attack them all. The CAFE mandate rely on California for legal support. While none of these prongs alone constitute an electric vehicle mandate, correct, because there isn't one. That's not a thing. And also, manufacturers had to get to 50% by 2030. Right. Do you know what the enforcement mechanism was? There wasn't one. There was no enforcement mechanism, meaning it was a guideline. It was a suggestion. It was not legally binding. If someone tells you the mandate is real, you can tell them, whoever told you that must not have a very high opinion of you if they thought you would believe them. So, all that. California's program is not restricted to California. No. Under the Clean Air Act, if California receives a waiver, other states can just follow it. That's true. If California says we want this for our Clean Air Act, my state, Washington state, can't go out and just say, well, we want a completely different thing, but they can tack on to California's. That's the way the law is written. And indeed, many others have. In fact, 18 states have allowed some parts of California's EV mandate. Okay, here we are, liar, liar, pants en fuego. This is what I call a lie. This is where Kenny earns his derision as being the liar that he is. So I went ahead and followed that link. Let's take a look at it. This is from the CARB website. This is where it goes. Look at that. 18 states. Well, it isn't, because if you actually look into it, it's 17 states and Washington, D.C., a pretty small city, certainly geographically. And a lot of the cars in D.C. are not registered in D.C., but surrounding states. So 18 is a lie, but it's also ignoring the reality. What are you talking about? You see, different parts of these different laws were enacted in different times. This one was enacted in 1990. 1990, well, yeah, but that's in California. Other states didn't jump on until later. All right, well, Massachusetts didn't join it until 1995. This is 30 years old, my friend. This is probably older than a lot of the people advocating for its removal. This is not something new. And this isn't all 18 of these areas saying that they are going zero EV, zero gas. This is that they have enacted one of the 7 different policies. One of the 7 spanning 18 areas over a period of 30 plus years. I saw another one at 1993, I thought, but I'm trying to do this quick. There it is. 1993, New York also went with the zero emission vehicle regulation. And I mean, come on, what are we even doing here? So these are lying liars and the lies they tell. Let states' rights win. If you really want a level playing field, why are you only attacking EVs? Why are you not also imposing new fees on gas cars? Gas cars are most cars. If you want money to fix your roads, I know an easy way to find it. There's a place where you can get it. Levy more fees on all cars. Not just electric, all across the board, even playing field. No more of this fresh rounds of drilling in new places that never had drilling before to try and artificially drive down the price of oil. A finite resource, which we will, at some point, run out of ways to cost effectively refine. You can make so much great stuff with it. You can make aspirin, you can make clothing, you can make all kinds of things. And your idea of a good use of it is to set it on fire. My guys, what on earth is going on? Hey, in the comments, let me know, what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? And keep it, if not civil, at least clever. Because if you're going to drop a joke, it's got to be a quality joke. Because if you want to offend me, don't offend me as a comedian, because that's just weak. Offend me with facts, and don't try and just relitigate what we've already discussed. Bring new facts. When I put out the video just yesterday about the craziness of the fraud claims in the California EV rebate program, there were people who said, no, you're wrong. And they just repeated the things I'd already debunked. Don't do that. That's not effective. We already addressed those issues. Bring new ones. You got to bring new ones. And your gut is not a new one. Your gut doesn't have a brain. I promise you, it's not that smart. Your ass, you may have a smart ass. I have been told by everyone around me that they've got one, but I always assumed it was me. Everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do. Please subscribe. I'm getting a whole lot of heat because things are crazy. We live in crazy times, and it is my fault. I do apologize. I did wish on that cursed monkey paw to live in interesting times, and these, my friend, are very interesting times. Stay tuned, stay juicy. I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots when all of this madness is a thing of the past.